Hello there everyone and welcome back. We are doing pretty well so far for matchups there, although to be fair, almost all of them have been Imperial Navy or Orcs quite frankly, and while both of them can give us nice, tense, close-range battles, if I were playing more passively, I would be, in all honesty, probably in even better shape in those matchups, especially against the Orcs due to their inability to easily and conveniently dodge the torpedo salvo I have on them. And also, I've been talking about maybe going with the Retribution Double Overlord to kind of capitalize on my Auger Disruptor potential, especially if heavy sap cannon orcs are going to be a commonplace thing, because quite frankly, if I'm fighting against orcs that are all about bombers, then I'm in good shape there, because I've proven before I could just straight up beat them in close range attrition. Assuming I'm good about evading the torpedoes, so that's going to take a little bit of getting used to and awareness, quite frankly. Because having a good sense where the orcs will micro-warp jump to will make it so I can at least get prepared to dodge them at least ahead of time, rather than do it reactively, which will do so much for dodging those torpedoes. And then I just have to worry about the sap cannons, which can be a little bit problematic with their constant slowing effects. But since they don't hinder my turning speed at all there, I at least still have the option to mitigate the torpedo damage some. At least a little bit. But let's press on forward and see how we do, shall we? Well, this is going to be something different altogether. This is probably the first time I actually played off against another opponent who's actually a lower admiral level than me. And I kind of feel bad for him a little bit, but let's try and play a serious game, but let's try and handicap yourself at the same time, just to try and keep things interesting. So I'm going to avoid using my battle cruisers and my retribution for this, I think. I'm going to go strictly with the Tyrants, maybe some Dauntlesses there, especially since they have the extended range, I could kind of get away with it, and this might hurt me some. I still have the shield transfers to avoid having beacons around me, which is really, in all honesty, the big thing I'm afraid of there, is having the beacon stick to me, so that way he can get constant, unhindered fire upon me. Assuming he's going to Lance build, it's entirely possible he could be going carrier style, he could be going aggressive with the slaughters, since he is only, Admiral level 6, I think? Because Admiral level 7, you can get 700-point cruiser clashes, I believe. I could be completely wrong on that regard, though. So, I'm going with the assumption he's Admiral level 5 or 6 thereabouts, so he doesn't quite have his second battle cruiser, so he's going to rely heavily on the standard cruisers and whatever light cruisers he has to bear. So, with the bonus points he has, I should be okay still. So long as I'm good about maximizing what damage I can. And of course, these Dauntlesses should also be on the... Well, they should really be grouped up. It makes it a little more simpler to control, but realistically, I would like it on the right side there. Kind of used as a screen, a shield, and a swords. In case he has, like, torpedo frigates. Because they can still do they can still do damage there if I'm caught off guard. He would have to be pretty close, mind you, in which case I probably would destroy him relatively quickly with good boarding or even torpedo broadsides, so... It's not really a threat, but they can do surprising amount of damage if not taken seriously regardless, but of course, it requires good amount of micromanagement, so... Oh boy, he's going heavy on the frigate front, so maybe this is not going to be as interesting as I'm making it out to be, because quite frankly, my Dauntlesses are probably best for this, because they still have the 75 armor, so they can ram really well, and... They have the health to easily take out multiple frigates, and of course their higher speed and mobility makes it a lot easier to do. Although, my Tyrants are still pretty formidable with their energy rams. Oh wow, and he cramped them all right in the same spot, so I'm going to have a field day just launching torpedoes in this. Hell, I may even just fire straight at the ship there. Not that it probably doesn't make that drastic a difference, mind you. As far as the torpedoes, it does change the trajectory some. And I know for a fact my Dauntlesses are never going to hit the target I try and aim them at, because they don't even have any torpedoes through the middle. So let's just go straight at him and see what happens. He might just warp out, unfortunately, because I'm only seeing, what is it, 8 ships here, 2 of which are probably hit in the gas cloud, so... This is probably going to be a very underwhelming match, I'm afraid to say. Oh well, he's probably doing the smart thing by preserving his ship so he doesn't get a bigger repair bill. But it's not the match I want for the YouTube series, let alone for my own personal enjoyment here. But let's just keep launching the torpedoes, because we are destroying stuff there. We are destroying his prized possessions of cheap frigates. They're not very prized, I guess, but I imagine frigates are still pretty damn expensive in the 40th millennium. I would assume anyway. And now we're about to destroy maybe 2, 3 more of them. Yeesh. You could tell it's Christmas time already. I'm giving you a nice fireworks show here. But nonetheless, that was an impressive amount of damage. But with them clumped up like that, it does make it easy for me, let's be fair. It's not like he didn't really put the effort in dodging, so yeah, this is underwhelming. This is incredibly underwhelming. But at least I get some bonus renown out of it. If he's going to warp out, he doesn't lose anything in the process. But he still has a minute to go. He still has a minute before he can warp out, so should I entertain him with his warp out? Because he has, let's see, Slaughter and 2 Mark IIs. Or rather, 2 Hellbringers, rather. So, let's just finish off this and see what he does. I'll let him warp out. I just gotta keep in mind, I may have just hit myself with torpedoes there, so let's be careful. I won't go in for the killing blow unless he's insistent on not warping out for whatever reason. Because I can still shield transfer. The high level on my ships is probably intimidating more than we probably are assuming. If he's even noticed that they're level 10s, practically. Because this slaughter is going to die even before it gets a chance at this rate. So he got the lock on. So let's try and minimize the damage since most of his weapons are actually macro based, I think. Well, at least he has 2 lances on the 1 Hellbringer, and then the slaughter has like a good amount of macros as well. So let's just brace for impact and mitigate this damage some. Now let's stop. I'm just going to wait until he has a chance to warp out. Does he do it? Does he do it? I'm not seeing it yet, unfortunately, so I'm going to assume no. His ships are going to die a miserable death. I think I can foresee this now. Especially now his bombers are getting denied. Okay, ceasefire, let it live. Although it looks like it was an insubordination, so... Alright. Alright, I'll let it live. Don't say I wasn't trying to be nice to my adversary. The more newer players, the better, quite frankly. I'm sure we all can agree on that. It doesn't make for much of a challenge, let alone an entertaining match, but those are probably the only cruisers he had available in all seriousness, so it benefits him. He gets the experience, and the Hellbringers were still pretty well off, considering he was what? I'm still assuming he was Admiral level 6 at most, so to have him level 5 and level 6 is pretty good for him. Pretty good progress, I'd like to think. But alas, we have to try for another match, and more than likely, I'm going to get a rematch with him, so if he tries a serious match, if he has all his ships repaired as in, I will probably be forced to destroy everything if he's going to try for a real battle. Because damn it, all this talking, all this preparation, the match itself was only 3 minutes. In all seriousness, I spent more time talking. Well, in all honesty, I'm talking for the entire recording, aren't I? But I spent more time preparing for the match than the actual match itself, so... Oh well, it is still refreshing to see. Just not what I wanted. So we'll see if the rematch, assume it's a rematch, we get a real match ahead of us, a real battle out of them. Oh wow, I'm full of surprises this episode, I think, because now we're fighting a 300-point fleet. I am really happy for this, but now, it's like I said when I first started playing with this level 10 fleet, I'm going to feel like such a jerk, because they're going to be so intimidated and feel like the matchmaker is kind of screwing them over, where I still believe, at least in 250 and 300 point battles, they probably have the advantage over me, with, of course, the slight exceptions depending on the faction, certain upgrades probably, but let's try and keep this entertaining. We're going to have the Dictator, we're not to kind of be my powerhouse here. We will bring in a Dauntless. I think this warrants a level 9, and sadly I do not have the points I want, so let's at least try and get a Cobra in. I may be pulling punches here, but god damn it, I want to put a serious effort in still, too. This is for the sake of entertainment, for crying out loud. So this will be interesting. I don't have the raw firepower anymore that my Tyrants and Overlords could bring me, but I still have amazing potential to deal with his frigates thanks to my Dictator, and I can deal with any torpedoes or heavy torpedoes he may be sending at me with this Dictator as well. So it slows down the match quite a bit, alas, but with my power rams, I could do ridiculous damage ramming-wise, but I don't think that would be a good lesson to teach them, to be super aggressive with the prow and the ramming, but it is one of my greatest strengths, and I also have 2 Auger Disruptors if I really want to cheese this. I did not plan on fielding 2 Auger Disruptors, I'm not going to lie, but that's an easy way to abuse Silent Running and really infuriate them if I really want to go that route, so there's still ways I could be a dick if I'm not careful. We'll see what happens. I have torpedoes, and I'm not afraid to use them. Oh yeah, I have only 2 torpedoes actually. For some reason I thought the Cobra torpedoes were actually my Dauntless, and then I realized I have the Lance blah. Oh boy, let's try that again, shall we? I have the Cobra, and I thought it was actually the Dauntless, my Mark I Dauntless, that was shooting the torpedoes, and then I realized it's actually the Lance variant. Oh yeah. And he's moving over that way, so, or he's trying to detect me. Let's see, Dominator, so Novacan's not really scary, I'm not gonna lie. Aside for it one-shotting my Cobra, that Novacan is not a threat in any form at all, so long as I'm good about my shield transfer. To help minimize the chance it hits my hull, because if the Novacan hits my hull, then that's a ridiculous amount of damage for instantly, considering I have armor and everything to help mitigate his damage, so that's the only thing I have to really be worried about with the, the Novacan. But I dodged those easily enough. He is firing more torpedoes, so let's just dance around some more, because he only got, he has 1 of each basically, a Mark II, a Mark I, and then a Dominator, so only 4 torpedoes to worry about, and my Dictator is really good at just neutering its damage potential, especially since he only has 4 torpedoes, so it's not like he can brute force my efforts that well. So unfortunately this Cobra's gonna die. I should have boosted out, but that's really the only value he's gonna get out of that damn thing, so for the rest of this match, it's just the macro cannons that could be a problem with the broadside. So let's try Isolate and Conquer and do some torpedo hits. All the while, I could still be a dick if needed. I have backup plans is all I'm saying. Let's try not to hopefully use them. Although a serious effort in trying to make a entertaining match, enjoyable match, is still priority. So he is boosting away. I have extended range on my Lance, and it'll still be a little bit till I can hit him. And I'm almost in bomber range, so I'm happy to do that. And we did get a hit on the... Oh, I'm hitting the wrong button for crying out loud. That's a bit of my problem there, isn't it? So he is firing another beacon. That's not going to do much. And we have 8 seconds for torpedoes, so he is going to spot me in a moment, so let's just get out of this bomb. And I would like to just reload there, too. Probably doesn't hurt. Because Bomber's a notable amount of damage, let's just try and cripple his weaponry some, because his one weakness is lack of belt armor. So really any permanent damage is good for me here. My Dictator is going to be a little bit slow, but this is prime torpedo range, and he's just going to take a full broadside. Enjoy. Enjoy that brutal hit. I'm kind of wondering if I should just reload or brace for impact, because that thing's about to die. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt to let it warp out, but that mutiny suggests he is not interested, so I will show no further mercy. This thing dies now then. Kill it, and then that's one less problem to what I'm having to deal with here. You don't want to level, you don't want to save it, then the dark side shall show there. We will show no mercy, and then we'll show you the true potential that is the Imperial Navy. Although I need to remember I have boarding actions too. Ooh, and his insubordination destroyed the Novacan, which again isn't really going to do much here because of the close proximity of his fleet. And hell, I could have fired torpedoes at his dang, his dang Dominator. But sadly, torpedoes just hit myself, alas. So, bombers are going. Let's finish off this thing. I still have a brace for impact, so ramming is still a good option here. Ram it, finish it off. And now we just have a Dominator to deal with. I'm still waiting for you to warp it out, buddy. Alright. I'll let him warp it out, since he already admitted defeat there, but Okay, there. He's gonna keep his ships alive. I had doubted him, but in the end, he's gonna benefit off this somewhat. He still has to repair his Mark 1 Dauntless, mind you, but it's still alive and it's actually still repairing the hacker. Although to be fair, he did the emergency repair before I heavily damaged it, so that's why he was able to get the repairs off. Oh well. It was a nice treat though. I welcome him. I just hate to give him some hard love though, as a response to greeting him to this game. I hope he has a good time with it though, because there's not going to be very many he's going to be fighting at his level. At least at this point, I'm afraid. Unless by chance there's the winter sales going on, I never did check in all honesty. That could be why I'm seeing new players, but I could be wrong. To be perfectly fair, I could be wrong, but I do welcome it. I just really hope they still have a good experience regardless, because I'm sure as hell not going to give them at least a good one considering I'm level 10. I could fake that I'm a newer player with my other Imperial Navy fleet, but at this point, it's already Admiral level 6 about, so it's not like I can fake that any longer unless I want to start brand new again. Alright, we're going to be fighting Dark Wraith again there, and I can't quite for the life of me remember what his Imperial Navy fleet is. I think it was pretty straightforward, traditional, to be honest. I only remember more his Space Marine battles there, where I kind of was being a jerk a little bit, and I still am sorry for that, but that was then, this is now, so assassination, we gotta keep in mind that. I can defend my Admiral ship really damn well, especially if I make it to Retribution. Is that what I want to do, though? Because I can get away with the 2 tires in the Retribution. I don't have a cruiser, mind you, to help complement the defenses, but hell, 600 points normally means my 2 Overlords and Dictator, which doesn't do much difference, but I am limited in my point defense, especially with the lack of Dictator, so do I feel the Dictator? Well, considering it's assassination, let's still try and play the objective, which is keeping my ships alive until the warp out. I may not have a navigator like I would for like a rank mode, mind you, to easily get a victory that way, but it does force him to come to me, and that's the one thing I like about this mode. And since I'm not using any stasis bombs, he has means to get the engagement he wants. It's just a question on if he places himself in a way that he can get to me quickly. Because if he assumes that I'm over on the far left or far right, yeah, it's very shiny. You want to get up close and personal to it and have a closer look, rather? Because, quite frankly, he needs to get close. And in all honesty, this is like the perfect spot. Because I could just sit on this asteroid belt. It reduces the reduces the accuracy so long as I'm in the asteroid belt. I need to minimize my turning, mind you, or I'm going to be taking constant damage. But even if I don't go in there, it's a really damn good deterrent because he will take damage if he flies through it. So I have to be mindful of how I play this, because that is a really strong option for me there. If I feel like I need to minimize as much damage as possible, in hell, with Brace for Impact, I'm taking almost no damage. What was it, half a point of damage per second from this asteroid? Let's see, where is it? Yeah, 10. Assuming it does like fractions. If not, it might round up to 1 damage a second. But he did guess properly, so we're going to have ourselves a proper battle here. So I'm proud of him for that, because I was half tempted to go over to the right, so. And of course that, let's see, that was a bad shot there as far as my Dictator, but I could still deny him his shots. And of course that was a bad rotation too. So that minimizes damage some. Not very well, mind you, but he still has to come at me. And I still have beacons to kind of like spot him in a moment's notice.
Awaiting orders.
So just keep my heading. I again have this asteroid belt to help provide support, and I have this Widowmaker in a bad spot. So, if he predicted his location properly, let's just aim straight at him now. Now, I have a beacon, and with bombers, this will help me deter these torpedoes some, because I have fighters and now a bomber wave to help contribute. Although I don't want you rotating the damn thing. Help minimize damage quite well. And that is a brutal torpedo salvo. Ooh, that is brutal. That is felt. Now let's get this tyrant in a good spot, because at this range he probably will not. Well, let's try and get ready for engagement too, shall we? Because now we're in macro battery range. No, I don't want to cease fire. I want to stop burning retros, quite frankly, and also prioritize my ships. And why am I focusing to level 4? Oh. Well, that's interesting. Wonder what the thought process was there. Let's try. I'm going to take a torpedo hit there, but armor spared me there. Well, this is an interesting twist. He guessed correctly on my placement, location, mind you, but I don't know what his strategy is now. And if I stay and fight there, I'm just going to give him a hard time with destroying his fleet, which I kind of would like to avoid doing if possible. So I guess he's just conceding this one, if I had to guess. Well, I've been giving him some rough matches there, hell. I may have had one match against his Tau fleet, which I think I've removed from this series, because I didn't really feel good about that either. Not that I was ragging on him again like I did previously against the Space Marines with the latency, but I couldn't have the heart to show that there. It was pretty one-sided. Yeah. I still feel bad for him, but at least he's not gonna lose his fleet in the process here, so I will warp out. I'll let him keep his ships. And he can at least get some experience off that Overlord, at least, so he gets something out of it. And he suffers no loss in warp effect as a result, but damn. These have been interesting amount of matches, so with the 300-point fleet, the 600, and, well, it is an Admiral level 8 fleet, mind you, but it is kind of one-sided, it seems like, with all the torpedoes I managed to get on his one Overlord. The poor level 4 Overlord, that thing just took a brutal beating. Ew, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty, because normally, just because of how flat your ships are when you're facing your prow to them, you can almost just naturally mitigate the torpedoes. At least outside actual weapon range, mind you, because the spread's enough that you can easily dodge them. But that was like, what, 9,000 unit range, I think, roughly? So the torpedo clump was very tight, and it showed. Holy crap. I don't know how many torpedoes I hit on him, mind you, but damn. That was brutal start to that matchup for him. Oh well, no hard feelings there. And like I said, I did have a Tau Empire match against him, or I had a match against his Tau Empire, which was level 10, mind you, and it was one-sided. Mainly because he didn't have his fighters out because he was utilizing stealth alloy, mind you, so my torpedoes slowly tore him apart once I found them. What else is there to say, really? But it isn't the most intense series of matches, but I am happy for the two that were lower level, mind you. I'm happy to see new players. I just really hope, like I said before, that they have a good time with this game. Well, Sterling Archer, welcome back. You were the Orc player I ran up against before, so now you're leveling up an Imperial Navy fleet, so let's try and play a little more serious here. No, not trying to pull punches too much, especially since he doesn't have his battleship just yet. Hell, he may not even have his second Admiral, second Overlord from what I said before, so sticking with the Overlords as my most top-heavy ship is probably warranted. Is that what I want to go? Do I have better alternatives, quite frankly? I am curious, though. If I were to go 2 Tyrants with the Dictator, how much flexibility does that give me there? It gives me enough for a Dauntless, which doesn't do a lot for me there. I want to argue. I don't know if this is a good idea. It gives me a little more power in exchange for the loss of the 2 Lances. I'm going to try this. Let's experiment a bit. I just wish I had the 3 extra points for a frigate. Although, let's be fair, I can make 2 of them. So, I think I got that covered as well, but the points line up in a way I could have afforded another frigate if I didn't have the Dictator in on this, because I think that's what is denying me that said frigate. So, Oh well, I probably am not going to stick with this type of fleet comp, mind you, for like real 600 points. Although I like including the Dauntless in, I still would like a Widowmaker of some kind to help be a spotter. Especially for like against Chaos or any long range focused type of fleets anyway. So I'm probably not going to stick with this, but it is definitely not, feels good to experiment a little bit if nothing else. And I have the Dictator to help deal with the torpedoes with my dodging attempts. I gotta remember I have the Mezoa pattern drive on this Dauntless, so it's going to be a lot more maneuverable than usual. And 6 ships, so 4 Dauntlesses and 2 cruisers, if I had to assume. If I had to assume, that might be the case. Because he does have 700 points. Alright. So he's firing torpedoes. 2 of them which hit the structure, so that's not helpful. Those could be frigates I'm shooting at too, but I'm okay. I can dodge. Hell, I could have silent run when he used to show off his Inquisition favor, but I don't really care all that much. Let's just try and be mindful of these torpedoes coming in. I do have, what is it? Fighters, mind you, and I'm ill-prepared for these torpedoes too, so let's just run, get our prow facing. Maybe I just shoot this down immediately. It won't be an issue. Actually, let's do a wide torpedo shot. Oh, that is a cruiser, okay. So, looks like no actual torpedo hits. I don't know if they were just shot down or just wasn't hit, but apparently this is a cruiser of some kind. And hell, since I have more torpedoes than him, I could just let him force him to come to me, quite frankly. I'm half worried, though, with his past game. I'm half worried he's just going to warp away, and that would make for another uninteresting kind of match. But now we see what he's fielding. Oh, so he's got 3 cruisers and a Dauntless, okay. Although my reload's kind of messing up, because I don't think I heard any torpedoes fired. Thank you. Torpedoes are away. We're going to do a little bit of a wider arc, so that way it's easier to hit him with him dancing around like he is. Oh, and he has 3 Dominators. Okay, this is good intel for me. This is good intel. I can absorb 2 of them really easily, but I gotta keep an eye on my shields. And save the Cobras, of course, for when the actual fight intensifies, because they're not going to serve much here, scouts. Hell, do I reload again? I think I do. Because here comes more torpedoes he's conveniently flying in for me. This is why the prow is so important, folks, because look at that difference. Prow from when I faced off against Dark Wraith versus the amount of area I can hit there. So. Okay, so that's going to need a shield transfer, but we'll wait and see what the third Novacans looks like. Yeah, I'm going to lose shields on both of them, but unless he reloads, which I can actually see, mind you, my shield should be back up in time. And he's burning a lot of cogitators here. Ooh, did I seriously take a 200-point Novacan there? Huh. Because I had 200-point shields for crying out loud, so I'm wondering if I got hit by something. Because I'm pretty certain it wasn't a 200-point Novacan. I'm really hoping it wasn't. Nonetheless, I am confident in my shield strength. If I just shield transferred, I probably could have avoided a lot of that damage, though. So let's prioritize weapons. So at least if these Novacans start dying, I can at least commit to a more longer range engagement. And if I can get those bombers on those swords, that will help some too. Although I think I focused a little bit too much, so he can dodge these torpedoes. But he's burning a lot of his cogitators, so let me entertain that some. And he is not reloading, and more torpedoes are about to hit. Ooh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Although 1 was ignored, so my shields are going to be back up. So his Novacans can't take advantage of that. Sorry. Now, I want to go after his frigates and start getting some real damage mitigation going on here. Because he is about to fire Novacans again. Burn retros. I could take a single hit easily enough. Now, I want to watch for these shields again. That was a 200-point shield hit, mind you. This better not be a 200-point hit. I'm hoping not. Yeah, so shields are down. So let's just transfer shields, shall we? Although that was kind of unneeded. Now, I could salt runs, not necessary, I don't think. But we can ram him, get a good ram hit there. He lightning striked on everything, so there goes all his weaponry. Now, let's fire these torpedoes, shall we? And ideally, start taking full advantage of this weaponry, because that's gonna hurt. And if I can, just board this dang thing. And I have power rams, so this is still gonna hurt no matter how much you brace for impact. So, what's my priority? Try and kill this one crippled Dominator. And I could do that with extra bits of torpedo. Of course, leave it to the Mechanicus to bail on me. Damn Mechanicus. Oh, and you took a massive broadside hit there. So that had to be like I wonder what did all that damage all of a sudden there. Interesting. So that's insubordinate. I want to kill that in a moment. So one more good hit will do. Be good in that regard. And this Dominator can do a massive amount of damage to this thing. Probably too close. No. It was good enough. Can I shield transfer? Not quite. Not quite, but let's finish off this Dominator, shall we? I burnt too much of my combustion gauge, it seems like, as well. So, let's fix this in a moment, shall we? Now, full on, kill his ships. Try to. Thankfully, I sort of have a solution to still. So get going, kill off this Dominator. That's one down. I do need to keep my shields up there, and that explosion was pretty damn good. So I did lose my Dominator though, and I still have my Dauntless, which I've been kind of ignoring too, haven't I? But I have my Prow to help mitigate this damage some. Do I have torpedoes up? No, but I will in a moment. So let's get some boarding actions in, shall we? Try to, but I'm not quite in range. And, okay, now torpedoes are up, finish them. Try to. And I can brace for impact, so this is good for me. Hit me! Hit me! My 95 armor versus your 75. Beat it. So, let's brace. Let's try and minimize the damage. And I can take most of that damage, but it's... Ooh, the shields actually took all the hits, thankfully. So that's pretty good. That was a bad torpedo arc, wasn't it? I do have energy rams, and he does not. He does have arm-piercing rams, mind you, but with the power rams, I'm easily hitting him harder than he's hitting me. I just gotta make full use of my supercharged void shield, mind you, because I've been doing bad about that. I still have brace for impact, so I could take this hit relatively well. Although the broadside was still enough to kill it, because I was kind of trying. Nope, he's warping out. I'll let him try and warp it out. This is your last chance, indeed. For if you don't warp out, it's dead. Straight up dead. Well, that was a fun match there. I did mess up my controls some there. I kind of forgot about the Dauntless altogether, because I went instinctually to my Double Overlord and Dictator fleet, which of course meant if I went with that fleet, I didn't have a Dauntless, so I kind of forgot about it in lieu of that. Because its lance would have been pretty good at chipping down his fleet at a distance, quite frankly. Especially since it would minimize his accuracy some for any shots that he sent at it, and it would have drawn out maybe some of his torpedoes, and clearly at the end there he tried to ram it to death, and with my 95 armor, I was easily hitting him a lot more than he was hitting me, even though it did ultimately mean its death. Even with my attempt to try and keep the prow facing him, facing his ship there, I don't think it was enough. Especially with the armor-piercing rams he had utilizing, or he was utilizing. Well, that was still a fun match though. I enjoyed that. I just wish for more experience out of this damn thing. It just barely died, and I did have a navigator on it. Damn it, I should have warped it out in all seriousness. Get that one step closer. Wow, I am really fumbling my words today. I don't know why. One step closer to actually finishing this fleet. Because I do need to get these two Dauntlesses to level 10 at some point, you would think.